argue in the developed countries, the big winners are countries that have shrinking populations.
You do not even have to have elections anymore because you can already predict, and afterwards you can say, why do we need elections? Because we know what the result will be.
Our primary mission is, in fact, to set a global standard for the world for behavior.
What we are very proud of now is the young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau, President of Argentina and so on, so that we penetrate the cabinets.
You want the function, you want the service, right? Why do you want to own a cell phone if you can just lease it? And if you lease, why shouldn't you lease your refrigerator or your washing machine or your dishwasher, or why do you want to own it?
I propose putting an end to anonymity on social media.
If 1 billion people stop eating meat, I tell you it has a big impact.
Can you imagine that in 10 years when we are sitting here, we have an implant in our brains? And we measure your brain waves.
There's some really interesting research that we can plant false memories in the brain. People believing that they've been at Disney World with characters who are not Disney characters, taking photographs with those characters.
And substituting humans for machines is going to be far easier in those countries that have declining populations.
Shalom. First and foremost, before I get started, I'm going to give all glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakak Vadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone who teach and real well. Peace and salutations to the Lord's elect and the 1/3. Also, shalom to the ones who are pushing this work with sincerity and charity. I'm the brother Barak. Lord willing, this will be an edifying lesson. And so this is a book of 1 Timothy 4:1. It says, "Now the Spirit speaketh expressly that in the latter time some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils, speaking lies in hypocrisy, having their consciences seared with a hot iron." And that's what I want to make this lesson on. If they don't get it, they're finished. And this goes for people that you speak to, right? Do not tell them this truth over and over and over and over again. If you tell them once and they don't listen, that's it. These people, their minds were seared with a hot iron. No matter how hard you tell them, they're still going to be trusting in these wicked devils. They're still going to be trusting in their president. They're still going to be trusting in these politicians. They're going to trust in their money. They're going to trust in their woman. They're going to trust in their house. These people, man, don't tell them things more than once, right? Tell a man once, tell a man twice. That's it, right? And we're going to bring that out. This is Titus 3:10. It says, "A man that is a heretic after the first and second admonition reject, knowing that he that is such subverted and sinneth, being condemned of himself." Right? These people, man, what? You tell them, maybe, hey brother, look, this is not the proper thing, or hey brother, I would stay away from that guy, or hey brother, I would whatever, I wouldn't eat that. And what the fuck do? They ignore you. They do it anyway. They do it right in front of your face. These people are set up for destruction, man, and you can't do anything about it, right? Because the Lord, He ordained it that way. These people, they have their consciences sealed with a hot iron, right? Yeah, if it's right in front of you at this point, you telling these people that, this devil is in rulership right now. This devil's going to give out the MOTB. He's going to, try to do chip people. You're telling people about the signs, what's about to go down. And these people, man, they, what's it called? They just, they don't fucking listen, man, right? So you got to leave them behind, right? There's that movie, Leave the World Behind. And, that's spiritual because what? We're supposed to leave these fucking people along with it, right? Not everybody's going to get beamed up into those chariots, when we're going to be we're going to get scarcely saved out of this place, right? you know, those people, the video I put in the beginning, it was a top 10 most, how do you say it, top 10, like, a WEF, World Economic Forum, like some of the top 10 things they said. Remind you, these are high-ranking people. Okay, these are high-ranking, government, elite individuals, billionaires, right? These people have a lot of money, a lot of so-called power, in this world, right? In this present evil kingdom, right? They have a lot of, they can, these are the wicked people, right? And, they're telling you straight up, in 10 years from now, if you're paying attention, 10 years from now, they want to chip everybody, okay? They're going to imagine people with a fucking chip in their brain. And I don't think that clip was that old. I don't think that clip was, Slocky, I don't think that clip was, recent, right? I could be wrong, but, I have to see when that dates back to, but, that's not the point. The point is, they're we only have a couple years left, before they start, and Lord willing, man, we get the fuck out of here by next year, right? But, let's see how things go. The Lord could speed things up, but, I don't want it to be a couple years, right? But, let's if they're saying, in 10 years from now, we're going to have everybody chipped, right? We don't got much time, right? So you're seeing these things, right? And you're seeing these government officials, they're getting everybody, trying to get everybody chipped up, right? They're talking about everybody, where they see the future, people, restricting people, right? Owning nothing, right? Because this devil, he wants full ownership of you, right? They hate the fact that people are able to think for themselves, right? They want full ownership of everybody, man. This devil Esau Edom, he's a spoiled brat, right? He wants full power. He doesn't want any room for other people to do the things that they do, right? And we're going to bring out this scripture because, we always bring this out. This is a book of Proverbs 29:2. It says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. Now, we're going to continue to bring that out over and over and over, right? Because, right now, these wicked people are in fucking rulership. And, everybody is hating this place, You can see this, that we're in the end times, man, And, Lord willing, man, we get the fuck out of this place by 2026 because, we hate it here, man. We don't like it here. We're not in that spirit of raising a fucking family. We're not in the spirit of, going out to fucking birthday parties. We're not in the spirit of celebrating no fucking holiday. We're trying to get the fuck out of this place, man. And, as you can see in that video, right, these people, they're blatantly telling you what the fuck is going to go down. They're telling you their agenda, Hence why they have these things like Agenda 2030, right? Agenda, whatever, right? Because, they have a, they're planning these things, as soon as possible. And, it might not be till 2030. They might want everything completed by 2030, right? It might be before that. So, we don't know. We don't know when they're going to, start implementing, but, these chips. But when they come out, that's when man, when you start seeing people get them, that's when these, that's it, man. She's going down, right? And, we're getting closer and closer to that day, right? Because Elon Musk, right? He's already has people signing up for his chip, right? So when they make that shit mandatory, man, You already know these people are it's not gonna take them too long where they're gonna start mandating people to receive that, digital ID. And then through that digital ID, they got that, RFID micro chip, which is the mark of the beast, which the Bible speaks of, right? And as you can see, a lot of people, even your family members, your siblings, right? Your wife, they might even take that. So you have to be willing to just leave these people behind, right? If they don't see it, man, it's they were never meant to get it, right? And don't even worry about losing these people or whatever, because we're gonna get that back, And I'm gonna bring this out. It says, the book of Mark 10:30. It says, "But he shall receive 100-fold now in this time, houses, brethren, and sisters, and mothers, and children, and lands, with persecutions, and in the world to come, eternal life." Right? So, these people, man, these people, man, if they want to leave, let them fucking leave. If they want to take that chip, fuck them, man, because at the end of the day, what the scriptures say, like I mentioned previously, tell a man, warn a man once, and after the second time, he's a heretic, right? It says, what is the definition of heretic? It says, one who differs in doctrine from his church, one who holds opinions contrary to the customary views, as in literature, politics, etc. Right? So, if they're against this truth, if they're against this doctrine, man, you gotta just say fuck them, man. Because these people they wanna make shit up, right? They want to start going off. They want to start telling people that the MOTB is this and that, right? They want to tell people that you can eat pork, right? They want to tell people that you can have sex on the Sabbath, right? All these wicked, abominable things. These people are, they're telling you those sweet things, right? So these people were never meant to get it, right? And if you're over here doing anything else but, if you're not prophesying on this, and what this man's doing, man, if you're not prophesying on this man's downfall, you're not, exposing this devil, what the fuck are you doing, man? Right? You have guys like Elazar, the former head of Sakari camp, right? This guy was out on the bar just singing, dancing, singing Aladdin, right? These people, man, they're not interested, in receiving that salvation, right? They just wanna go back into the world, blend in with these fucking clowns, these losers, these fucking people, man, right? And good, you're gonna get hit with that nuclear missile, man, right? The Lord gonna burn you, This book of Matthew 19:11, it says, "But he said unto them, all men cannot receive the saying, save they to whom it is given." Right? So, these people, man, we ain't out here going to have, going around telling everybody about this truth. Right? We're only gonna, here for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Right? And, it says, all men cannot receive this. So, even if they are reading the scriptures, right? Even if they go to church, man, don't mean they're going to receive this. The Lord has to ordain them to receive this, right? And as I was saying, if you're not prophesying on this man's downfall, what are you doing, right? You got to stay away from those people that tell you, you got to love all people, right? You got to move in love. Right, the one guy that I know, this guy was basically telling me, how could you prophesy against Mount Seir, the fall of Edom, when Mount Seir was already destroyed? This guy was bugged the fuck out, but he was basically saying, how can you prophesy against Edom if Edom was already destroyed? Which this devil, he has little understanding. right? Basically, and if anybody with, proper understanding would be able to tell, these Edomites are still around, right? But these people, they believe that, Esau, died and got shot with an arrow, and, this folly, right? They think the Edomites still don't exist, right? Which is, simply, no, these devils are still around, right? And, they're going to be here until what we put their ass into fucking captivity, right? So, not everybody's going to, be able to see this, but, now it's at a point where they're right in front of you, man. They're telling you what they're about to do. So if they're still in the world, if they're still out here saying, the world's not going to end, you're being dramatic, right? We still got another 20, 30 years left. Fuck these people, man. Don't waste your time with them. Leave them alone, right? They're going to go into their destruction, right? So with that being said, I think I'm going to wrap this up. Lord willing, this was edifying, right? And with that, I'm going to give all glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders at GMS who taught me this truth. Peace and salutations to the Lord's elect. Shalom.